Okay. Hello, Cirque.
Hey, cutting it a little close there.
Yeah. I had to do something right before, so it's a little late today. But we're here now for episode, what is this, 15? Episode 15. And this one, trust me, it's going to be a good one. We've got some real cool information that just came out that VRChat's got coming soon that's going to make this an interesting episode. For sure. So we're just going to let that sink in for a minute. So, every month VRChat does a developer update, right?
Right.
And their developer update for this month just came out today. It's got a lot of cool things that I've been hoping for a long time. It's going to be good. So anyway, welcome to episode 15 of the Beyond Pixels podcast. We are a podcast based in VRChat entirely, at the moment at least. And we talk about VR and online topics. Today, we're talking about how VRChat could be better, and there's some real good, cool things that if you keep up with the developer updates of VRChat, you might already know this one. But as soon as I saw this, I fucking jumped for joy, basically. Because there's some cool shit that just came out. So we're going to just start off with that. So VRChat's developer update, they do a monthly developer update, or is it monthly or bi-weekly or something? I don't know. They do a developer update every so often, and they give information on what's coming soon, what they're working on, right? Today, they talked about the creator economy, which is people being able to pay for things in worlds. You've probably seen it in worlds like the Black Cat. Another thing is persistence. So there's some worlds that I know of that have managed to do some sort of persistence. And by persistence, we mean saving data. So you join the world, you're in the world, you do something, you go join a different instance. Now, right now, how VRChat sits, you can't just walk back into that world and have the same data, the same information. You can't progress in a world, come back to it later, and start where you left off. That doesn't happen. That doesn't work without some really weird, crazy workarounds that no one likes to use. But apparently, persistence is now going to be in VRChat, built in. I guess it's going into closed beta soon, so hopefully we'll see more. Oh my fucking god.
What?
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm gonna be back in 5 minutes. You guys go ahead and talk about anything VRChat related. Talk about what you think VRChat could have better or something. Circuitry, I know you had a good topic to talk about, right?
Yeah.
We'll go back on to the developer update in a minute.
I just wanted to say, when it comes to the developer updates, with the exception of the holiday season, they do one a week.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, I have to go for a minute.
Okay. Probably poopy.
No worries.
All right.
Doggy, I'm thinking. At least that's what's on my mind.
Eddie.
So I think the persistence update he was talking about alone, I think that would be a game changer in this many ways. I kind of imagine most games that that's out there, I would say imagine if you was a progression system in one of the worlds. You start collecting items, and then you come back to that world, and you can still collect more items. You can buy more stuff. There's a few worlds that are like that, kind of like slot machines and arcade worlds. I can see that really, really working well. Especially on if the persistence is something that stays with that account for a while. That would be great.
Yeah, I think that'll be a big
something
update.
for developers to.
I think that's a good idea, so long as it's not necessarily something where you have to pay for whatever items you're getting in the world. So, like, say it's like in in my home world, they have that Hello Kitty thing. Like, let's say that was essentially a gotcha thing. Like, if you could just, if that was something where you could just like keep on pulling a lever until you got certain little baubles, like that could be interesting because then you could have sort of an assortment of little VR anime figure type things. And so that could be kind of interesting, but also at the same time, I do worry about the fact that, like, if that was linked to
Will it be gatekeeped?
actual money, then like that could be something that could be hacked or scammed, and then you have an issue on a different level. As long as it's just kind of like, if it's persistence, that it's just like, okay, you pulled the lever this many times, then at one point you got, by random chance, this one little anime figure thing. That's cool. Now you can get to have it in your world. If it like somehow it winds up being monetized, I think that's a problem. That's just my opinion.
In a way, I can see, like, I think there's going to be some form of monetization. I can almost see that this is a prerequisite on their worlds or avatars that can save data or something like that between instances, and then having in-store items just right there. I could totally see you purchasing something from a world. Let's say, like, I don't know, it's a Zelda game. You can go to this world. This world is selling a sword. You know the one. And, you know, for those who bought the sword, the count can see that who bought it, and then they can use that sword when they're in that, you know, when they're there. But for anybody else who has a free account, not paying money, I can see that fitting in the wrong type of way so well in that scenario. I can see where there'd be some concern there.
Wonder how
I'm
World
back.
of
What did I
Warcraft
miss?
in VR would be.
So that's the
take my
thing.
wallet.
Like,
Yeah,
because
reading it now.
of persistence, and Udon V2, Udon 2, which Udon is the scripting language in VRChat, right? If you didn't know. But Udon version 2 opens up the possibilities and the ease of programming things for VRChat, basically making VRChat a game engine of itself instead of having to learn a whole new system. You just use the fucking language that's already there, C#. You just use C# without having to do a bunch of crazy extra things. So it, like, for me personally, that is amazing, because now I'll be able to do pretty much anything I want in VRChat without having to use an external server most of the time.
Dude, this basically, if what I'm reading is correct, this would turn every creator in VRChat, whether you make avatars or you make worlds, into a game developer.
Avatars, not really.
developer.
There's nothing changing for avatars as far as I've heard.
No, I'm saying if you know how the
developer.
program works.
Yeah,
Even
if
you know how
you
the
can
program
work in
works.
Unity, I mean, how this is going to end up though, you don't even have to work in Unity anymore. From how this is sounding, you won't have to know. They won't have to know and understand how to work with Unity. You'll be able to work just in C# code. If you know C#, fair game.
Oh.
And I know C#. That is my language of choice. Like, I always use C# for everything I do. And
I can say
so
from a. Go for it.
there's a big thing that they very specifically noted on. So in programming, there's different sorts of things that hold items, right? So might call it a list, but there's also arrays. If you know what the difference between a list and array is, arrays are really difficult to work with. Lists, it's like an array is like having a sticky note or 7 sticky notes, and you can only ever have those 7 sticky notes and put one thing on each sticky note. Where a list is like having a whole notebook that's infinitely long, and you can put a different thing on each line, go back and erase one, and just keep adding back in. So lists are fucking amazing. Arrays are difficult to work with. Currently, everything works in arrays. You can't do lists because VRChat, the difficulty in the current system to implement lists is just difficult and not. They've tried and failed. So I mean, this is the first I've heard of them working on a 2.0 for it. So, you know, this is one of the things that I like to tell people. Like, when someone says, oh, VRChat's so garbage, they haven't done this thing that people asked for 2 years ago. Yeah, but how many things have they done? Well, they don't do anything. They don't add anything. They don't do anything. They just break things. You don't see 90%. You literally, in development, as an end user of a program, you don't see 90% of the development work and the changes and the fixes and the optimizations that happen. The end user just sees, oh, hey, there's a new feature, but not the feature I asked for. Whereas me, being a developer myself, I can look at it and be like, yeah, people think just adding a button to the menu, to your quick menu, or adding a new slide to the quick menu, or adding a new setting or something is so easy, so simple, because it's just a little button. But it's not. It's not that simple. It's so much more than that. And that's why anyone saying VRChat doesn't do anything. They never do anything. They never update. They never change things. They never make it better. They always break things and make it worse. That's why I hate that. And the whole easy anti-cheat thing, if they hadn't added that, they wouldn't have been able to do all of the things they've done in the last year since that's been in VRChat. Because they were focusing more on the cat and mouse game of stop the malicious client users. Client users find another workaround, stop that, find another workaround, stop that. It's just the cat and mouse game. When they threw in easy anti-cheat, 90% of that just stopped immediately. And most of those developers went to use... Most of those developers that were making the mods...
New users.
So anyway, a lot of the developers that were making mods for VRChat, back when that was a thing, but also not allowed ever, a lot of those developers switched over to working with the tools that VRChat has given now, like OSC, allowing external programs to communicate into the VRChat client and send data and receive data. Like that, we would have never had that. There's so much that people don't realize. They just see, ooh, they threw in this thing and stopped people from making their own stuff. They don't understand the reasoning for it, the ideas behind it. Like, I guarantee VRChat didn't just one day say, fuck it, we're going to throw easy anti-cheat in. I guarantee that was a 6 month to 2 year talk. Seeing how can we make this, how can we stop the clients? How can we make VRChat a better experience for everyone? And in the end, easy anti-cheat won out. Fuck, man. So, like, half of the things that I was really wanting to talk about today about, like, VRChat should have these things, and we really, really want these things. They're fucking coming soon. It's like crazy. Yeah. We've been talking about getting persistence
right now.
We've been talking about getting persistence in VRChat worlds for years.
You might be onto something.
I think they're watching the podcast.
We have been talking.
Like, so this world, let's take my home world for example here. When you come in here, you have to click all the buttons on your menu to set them back to how you want them again, right? So if you don't want the chairs in here enabled, you have to click that button. If you want to turn the monitor on in here, you have to click that button. If you want to turn off all these other settings, turn on audio link, turn off post-processing, whatever, you have to click all the buttons for it every single time you join the world. But with persistence, you join the world, you set your settings once and completely forget that those settings even exist.
Technically we can even add more to that. Let's say you add a option to change the color scheme of this world. You could change the walls from black to blue, the floor from red to green.
Yeah.
So when you're going in the stream and you're in someone else's world that you've been to before, maybe it's matching with your avatar. And every time you go back, because of the system, it's matching with your avatar again.
There's also possibilities in that to have it set to what the instance host or the instance creator has their settings at. So if I make the instance and I join and I'm the master, it's going to use my settings and share those to everyone else, but not save them to everyone else. That is also a possibility. So like if you can basically allow customizing worlds per user. So if you want your home world to be something different, it just has to have the settings for you.
Brain 2018 again, and this just the creativity could really blossom with that.
I have a question. Is it possible to make persistence like an optional thing? That it's, for example, let's say someone doesn't want their settings to be saved or whatnot. Would that be something that you just go into a menu?
That would be entirely up to the world creator, from my understanding, on how that would all be handled. So if the world creator gives that option, then your settings won't be saved. But I don't think they would do anything in VRChat itself to not allow worlds to save your settings, because that just, one, would be too difficult and cause too many differences that can possibly happen between users, and that's just not ideal. In making a world and an experience, really, let's stop calling them worlds and start calling them experiences, because every world in VRChat is an experience, right?
Yeah, so to a degree, I agree.
Every experience in VRChat is made to be experienced a certain way. So if you were to allow users to say, I don't want to experience these persistent changes across every instance I ever join, then it's not the same experience anymore. Like if you can just say, nah, I want to restart every single time I come into the world without pressing the restart button that the world creator gave me, it kind of sucks. Like, so this also would allow you to have save states. Like you join a world, you're put in a little box, and it says, which save game do you want to load? 1, 2, or 3? So there's just so much. Like even I already know one world that will implement it. No, I mean I know they're called worlds, but every world is an experience.
And when I first thought about the idea when they called VRChat worlds, just throwing out that, I mean, this is random knowledge. You remember Mario? You'd go to World 1, World 2, World 3.
Yeah.
That's why I think like the logic where people, because it's odd that we call them worlds in the first place, because you're not landing on a planet every time. But I think that early game knowledge of how you would hop to world, then they literally had one where you were kind of hopping from spear to spear on there. So I think we can blame Nintendo for the fact that it's called worlds.
Yeah. But I mean, when it comes to VRChat specifically,
I think we have to simplify it, and like you were talking about it, where it saves. It's not necessarily like going. I mean, okay, you go to a world in VRChat. That's kind of the nomenclature. That's the thing that you go to. But like, in terms of the settings, if you're not going to call it settings, then it's kind of like a save where you have multiple saves, where maybe like okay, this time was fun when we were doing this thing. I don't really want to do the other thing that I was originally doing the last time that I was in this world. I'm going to go back to the last save. Like, it's one of those things where you can pick little parts where you're like, okay, I already did this, and that's not really what I want right now. I want the thing that I originally started with, or I want the next thing of whatever the world was supposed to have for me.
So have you
maybe jump a little?
Have you ever been to the casino worlds in VRChat?
No.
Any of you ever been to any of the casino worlds in VRChat? You know, play slots, blackjack, whatever.
I was looking at.
I've been to them a handful of times. I don't go to them. Like, I like playing the things. It's fun, but it's just every time you join, you're starting back at zero, and it just gets boring after a while. Like, sure, there's a way to save this long ass string, and now I have to go do all these extra steps to save that on my desktop, remember where it was, pull it back, paste it back in every time I join the world. Persistence completely.
Isn't there's a world out there where you collect like pizza or something like that, or it's like an arcade. Similar system, very similar system. You run around, you collect coins. Actually, there's a lot of different games that have some kind of coin collection, something on there. So you play for like 5 minutes. Hey, you got to go eat dinner, something like that. You leave, come back, you're still at your 25 coins, whatever, and you can continue going on. Or if you had a long gaming session because, you're on your day off, you got 200 coins, come back, and then you can, keep on going. And I could really see some a reason to invest into some worlds, invest more time because of that.
And this would also, I don't think world creators will have access to any of the data, in themselves. So like outside of VRChat, whatever it gives for world creators, the world creator might be able to like delete a user's data if a user requests it, or the user might be able to request all of their data be deleted themselves. We really don't know yet.
I see a clear button.
But yeah. I mean, worlds can obviously implement a clear button or a reset button in themselves too. But like the big thing, it's just so much more can happen. It's just insane.
Well, there's also alternative save systems that could possibly work. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, you think of Mario and Zelda. Those games give you the option to save your progress, right? So you can save all the items that you have, how much health you have. You can save all your progress in the game pretty much anytime you want. Whereas there was a game I played back, in the 90s when I was a kid called Blackthorn. And that game was for the Super Nintendo. And it didn't have a regular save feature. What it had was every so often, if you got to a new area, it only had 4 worlds, but it had multiple. It was like every single world took you like an hour and a half to 2 hours to finish, because it was a long game. And it escalated in difficulty. So what they did was they implemented a password system. So if you got to a certain part of the world, they would give you like 4-digit password to put in, or you'd take a notepad, you'd write down the code, and then if you wanted to go to that particular part of the world, you would just type in the code at the start menu.
Yeah,
and then
there's been some VRChat worlds that have done that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's an old school way of like. Oh yeah, Mega Man.
But it all requires the user to save some piece of data, and do all that manually.
Yeah, I think like if that's going to work in like, I don't know how to say it exactly, but like essentially a user-friendly kind of way, then now you have to have a thing where VRChat essentially goes, okay, I now have this password, I don't know exactly what to do with it in this world. Now, how do I type that into something? Essentially, now you have to have notepad files per world in order for that to work properly.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they can do that in a different way than maybe it could simply be a thing where it's like, okay, there's this password for this world, this. Okay.
Yeah, but
now that's
the
saved.
persistence completely removes the need for any of that.
I mean, it could.
Just so I'm understanding, are we talking about
It's
like,
not that it could, it's that it
putting
literally does. That's the whole point of it. Saving user information, not user information, but details about your experience in the world, so that the next time you join, you start back where you left off. So
but
you can make a
there's
full
the
RPG
question
in
of-
VRChat.
On the save thing, it's like, well, you necessarily want to save that particular starting point. See what I mean?
It's all entirely up to the world creator on how it will end up working for that specific world. So VRChat being so huge, so many worlds, so many creators. If someone makes a world and says, no, you can never reset, and people don't like that they can't reset and start back at the beginning or start a new save file, people aren't going to use that world. That world's going to just fizzle out and die. So it's going to end up completely being world creator decides this is what I'm going to do, and then user feedback tells them, hey, you should probably do it a little different, do it a different way. But it's entirely up to the users, the creators of the content. It's not tied to how VRChat says it has to be.
That's going to be a little hard for the casino world, because if you run out of money, then you could just reset, or you can't reset if they choose not to.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure. Like, okay, almost every casino world that exists right now, they have some free play thing that, like, every 5 minutes you can click a button and get 100 tokens free or whatever, so that you never run out. You can continue to go, whatever, and they can always have that. So, you know, it's not going to change anything. It's just going to make things so much. Like, it's not going to remove the need for my programs that I'm running right now for myself, but worlds like Prismic's Avatar Search, he uses persistence based on IPs. So if you connect from one IP, it saves some data with some hashes, so that anytime you call from that IP, it hashes, grabs that data, and gives it back to you. And it's just some world settings. But he's gonna be able to just completely nuke that server and stop doing that because VRChat's implementing it directly.
Okay.
This is on par, but imagine an integrated calendar system or event system that could be put into worlds. A world that could celebrate your birthday on your birthday.
Ooh.
That would actually be pretty cool.
Legitimately,
Yeah.
100%. When you first join the world can ask, hey, what's your birthday? Enter it. Cool. And guess what? This also adds in club worlds.
Yeah.
Like VRChat clubs and events and things. If they want to lock it down to only people over a certain age, they can ask, what year were you born?
Oh my God.
Click the year.
Yeah.
Things like that, and save that. So that, hey, sorry, you're not old enough to be in this world. And it'll put you in a different box and not let you join the event.
That sounds so bad out of context.
I'll at least give them a kitty corner. Like, you know, they'll just go to the kitty corner far away.
Yeah.
Put them in a box.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's good on, like, a year basis. I don't think that it should necessarily know what exactly your birth date is, unless that's something that you want to give.
Again, listen to this. My understanding and my expectation of how VRChat is going to implement this is the world creator will never be able to view the data that you have saved. You'll be able to view your own data, maybe. If you're the world creator, I guarantee you'll be able to see the data that you have saved. The only way that the world creator would be able to see your data is if they're in the room with you and have a developer panel that they manually build to see that data.
Also, if the world developer creator can see that, one, we're gonna say it. We're gonna let people know. Warning: don't do this. This will be a horrible thing to do. It will be a big hit to VRChat.
And VRChat also is not changing their rules on what user data you are allowed to save, because you're still not going to be allowed to require users to enter personal information. So something like that, like my expectation of how a world would implement an age system is, hey, do you want to supply your birthday? Hit yes, then it asks you. If you hit no, then it puts you in a box and has a person come walk up to you.
Okay.
Something like that. Like, there's a million different ways that it can be done, and it's just opening up the realm of possibilities so fucking wide. Now,
I think for me, like there is a one, like I could see like a best practice. If we're gonna ask for, like, you know, birthdays, maybe not add the day. Just ask for the month and the year.
Man, when I go to event worlds, they ask, what's your age and date of birth? And I have legitimately had one ask me and like kick me from the world because I told them my age and the year I was born, and told them, you don't need anything more than that. They're like, yes, we do. We need the day and the month. Like, no, you fucking don't.
No.
It's people don't understand personal information, and people wanting to not give out personal information on the internet to a stranger.
Well, here's the problem, here's the thing with the whole month and the year thing. There are some instances where the month and the year are going to be important. On the other hand, like, okay, it's 2024. If I was born in the year 2000, which I'm not, but if I was, I would still be legal for, like, drinking and all of the other thing. So it doesn't matter what month it is. It doesn't matter what day it is.
So listen to this.
It's literally just...
Listen to this.
There's the year, blah.
Super, super simple. Because there's always going to be that edge case of, you only give the year. Well, what if they were born in January of that year, and that somewhere in that year is the cutoff? Okay, well, now you ask for the month. Okay, we're in that month right now. Somewhere in that month is the cutoff. Then you ask the day, but you only ask for the required information to prove what you need to prove. So if you need to say that you're over 18, and it would be
literally.
I mean, a prefab could be dropped into a world. Even now, this is technically possible, and I've never thought of this before. Like, it wouldn't take much for me to make a little box that pops up in your face saying, what year were you born? Okay, enter your year. Oh, looks like you might be not the right age. Let's ask for more information. What month were you born? Click the month. Okay, you're good to go.
Yeah, exactly like that. I mean, if you put the year and it's like, okay, well, you're 65. Yeah, you just squawk in there, Grandpa.
Exactly.
You know, something like that.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's so many possibilities.
Next time you go to the world, you don't have to enter it again.
I mean, shit, if I'm going into a world trying to get a lap dance, call me Grandpa, I don't care.
So, but you only have to enter it once with this idea, right?
So, yeah. If with VRChat's new system that they're adding, you would only have to enter this information a single time. You would never have to enter it again. Current day VRChat, you'd have to enter it every single time you join the world.
Ooh,
which is why no one does that, because
system too.
Yeah, so you'd be able to add the birthday. Like, you could. I mean, you can still say, "Do you want to supply more information so that we can give you some bonus credits on your birthday?"
Yeah, incentivizing.
VRChat made an update to the privacy policies back in November of 2023, and basically they're abiding by the California Resident Privacy Notice. It's basically the CCPA.
Yeah. So
And what they say is they collect information. Examples of personal information we collect is name, unique personal identifier, online identifier, internet protocol address, email address, postal, etc. And
yeah. So
in there,
the
go
thing,
ahead.
VRChat can have all that information, but we can't. We as world creators and avatar creators, we cannot save that information. Like, if I try to circumvent systems to save your username and data about you mapped to anything, that's not allowed.
Okay.
VRChat can save that data. That's different. It's specifically other users saving data. That is not allowed.
Okay. Yeah,
I gotta
that's
say
what it
one
says
thing
here.
is just a good idea. Maybe wait a few weeks when it comes out. Let's see what people do with it.
Yeah.
Especially
when
for
this
personal
system
data.
comes out,
Colors.
I'm probably going to
Coins,
talk to, if I want to do any of these things that could be possibly controversial, I'm going to first off talk to one of the devs or throw some messages out in the VRChat Discord asking for opinions on, hey, is this acceptable? Is this okay? Is this allowed? Or is this something that we should not do? And I'm sure there'll be some new guidelines for what data is supposed to be or can be saved on this system and what data can't be. See, what I'd like VRChat to do is implement so VRChat now asks for your birthday every time you make an account, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would love if they gave that as just a true or false. Is user over 18? True, false. So that people can,
I
on
mean,
avatars,
realistically,
hide
that makes a
things
lot
that they
of
don't
sense.
want people under 18 to see, and hide things in worlds that people under 18 don't want to see or shouldn't be able to see.
I would also
That's
add the
what
button
I think.
just for NSFW because there's adults that don't want to see it. The Twitch debacle happened a while ago. Definitely opened up our eye to that.
Hey.
Well, I mean, you could have that something that, like, if somebody is under 18, they just don't see it, period. And then if you're over 18, you could just have it like a toggle. Like, you can go to your menu and just hit a button, be like, no, I don't want to see that. I'm not here for that. I'm trying to be social. I'm trying to talk to people.
I'm thinking with Udon 2.0,
I just want to be happy.
they're also, you know how when you open your quick menu, you have the wings menus, right? I believe there's some system still in works for world creators to be able to add their own menu box or menu section into your quick menu. So the world creators don't have to do what I did and make this convoluted, complicated menu. They can just have it built in. And that's probably going to come with Udon 2. Now, let's get on another topic, though. So we did sort of touch on this a little already. Sanctioned events. So events put on and hosted by VRChat. Right now, there's only right now there's really only the virtual markets or whatever things that go on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those are just, here's this world, look at it. This is what they're selling. They paid us a bunch of money to put this here. There's no community to it. It's just some company is paying to do this, and that's it. I want to see
YouTube Rewind. Were never good.
Oh yeah.
I think they should make the
VRChat Rewind was pretty good back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah, VRChat.
Yes.
So there was a VRChat Rewind for the streamers and content creators back in 2018, 2019, and 2020, I think. I was in one of them.
But I'm not talking about a video.
I think I was in the 2019.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about it. Yeah, but I'm not talking about a video.
World.
I'm talking about
world and avatar reel sort of thing.
They have the information for most trending worlds where people spend their most time.
Yeah.
Things that people do. A way to just put something up there.
It would be cool. Have a list of worlds that this world was popping off for a few months and it no longer is.
Mm-hmm.
So they do that. Like they
Maybe
could
even avatars now.
very well have
they
that.
get information.
They could also do it with avatars. I guarantee they're tracking information about the avatars. They just haven't made it public yet. But so no, I went to see like community events similar to the hunt for Mr. Whiskers back in the day. I want to see like big things where VRChat says, "Hey, world creators, we want you to apply to join this select crew and implement these special features that we'll give you into your worlds for a short period of time for all users to play around and have fun with." I want to see things like that. Like things that make you go from one world to the next. Because the hunt for Mr. Whiskers, it caused people to go to new worlds that they hadn't been to, or go back to old worlds that they hadn't been to. It brought people together for an event. VRChat doesn't have any of that anymore. It used to. They're like VRChat is now so fractured. There's groups of people here, groups of people there. They never interact with each other. They never see each other. They don't even know each other exists. And they're never going to know. Like give
I
some
think of
incentive.
it like the pug, how they had that thing where like you had to hit something on the phone, you did this, you did that, you would have to just kind of like do random shit until you finally got to the point where you got into the basement. Like, I think also half of the problem
I think that was part
is
of the Mr. Whiskers thing, actually.
that might have been, but I think also half of it is just kind of people who remember how VRChat used to be. At the very least, I spend most of my time in private worlds. I don't really spend a lot of time in public worlds, specifically because I know how many hackers there used to be. And anti-cheat may have helped with that a little bit, but at the same time, there's still that
it helped a lot,
hesitation of like, if I'm going to be like trying to hang out with my friends for an hour and like actually talking about real shit, I don't want to. I don't want to deal with somebody else just randomly coming in or whatever.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about at all. Because you wouldn't be one of the people that would participate in it. But it would be a thing to bring, like if they just did a yearly mass event that involves a bunch of different worlds, it would help world creators get more known, get their worlds out there, learn new things to do with their worlds, things like that, and get more in with the community. Because most world creators, they just have their own Discord server and that's it. That's all. That's the only place they're at. And if you want to talk to them, you have to go there. They don't hang out in random places and just communicate and participate.
Well, the thing is, if it's like it's a once in a year kind of event, I could see being like,
it lasts for a month.
I last for a month. Like, okay, I can rescind the idea that I'm never going to go into public shit for whatever, and then it's like, well, it's at least going to be kind of interesting, right? It's like, yeah.
So the hunt for Mr. Whiskers, what they did was you go off with your own crew in your own world, your own instance, do the thing, and you get a code to go enter into a Discord server. And then you collect all the different codes and put them in the Discord server, and you get a special role that gave you an invite to a closed event with just a handful of users. It was a challenge sort of thing. It was fucking awesome. And me and a bunch of friends, we went around and did all of the different events for it. And it was great. It was awesome. It brought a lot of people. It got people that usually don't do anything but sit in a mirror to do something other than sit in a mirror. Because it was actually interesting, it was fun, and there was a prize at the end of it. VRChat doesn't have any of that anymore. It's so fucking fractured. Like, most people aren't going to go to like the furry hub world, right? Because if you're not a furry and you're not into that type of thing, you're probably never going to enter that world. But it's actually a really cool world. Like, the world itself has nothing to do with furries. The creation of the world, it's cool. I like it. I've been there a couple times now, and it's a nice world.
They make some really good worlds. That's just not gonna lie. I've been there. That they're really, really well done.
Yeah,
I can't.
There's a lot of really good worlds that, like, I'm gonna look at the name of it or the icon of it, and I'm never gonna go there because I don't think that's the type of world I'm gonna like. But I randomly end up there, and I realize actually this is a kind of cool world. I would, well, and I'd never known that if someone specifically didn't invite me there, and if there was some event that brought people to these different worlds and sort of forced their hand to, hey, go spend an hour in this world. You'll find worlds you didn't know existed that are actually really nice and really cool and chill.
Well, I think that's fair, and I think that the main sticking point is events, because if it's like achievements in Steam, then it's like people are going to go, oh, well, I need to go and get this achievement because blah 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 blah, blah. And it like that detracts from like the social aspect. You're not doing that to actually interact with anybody. You're just doing it to get a fucking blip on Steam, and then you get like a little bit of dopamine for that moment. Like that's the thing where I think it starts to lose its appeal, at the very least in my opinion. So it is something where it's like we should have events like what is it, Easter I think is coming up. Easter, St. Patrick's Day, things like that. You might have a little bit of a world where you can, like, maybe for St. Patrick's Day, you could, like, throw darts. For Easter, you could be, like, going searching for eggs. Things like that.
Yeah,
like,
they could even do a, hey, there's secret Easter eggs in this handful of worlds. They're not going to show up in every instance. Go try different instances. Things like that. Get people out looking around, meeting new people. That's the whole thing I'm looking for is VRChat to do something to like incentivize people to get out and meet new people, and like the old people. I'm talking like the OG people from VRChat, because let's face it, most people that have been in this game since 2018 or earlier, they don't go to public worlds. They don't meet new people. They stay in their friend, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I got
so like let's say that they have
VRChat to incentivize breaking away from that and meeting new people. Like I want there to be some event. Like, not, obviously you never have to do it if you really, really don't want to, but give like a prize of VRChat Plus for a year or some crap for being one of the top 20 people to compete in this or whatever, something like that. Like,
oh yeah, I'm thinking more along the lines of like, let's say that you have a curated like set of people who are world builders, like people who have, like you said, been around for a long time. They know what they're doing. They're not like noobs to say. You have them create like little Easter egg stuff where they're like, okay, there are these little eggs in little worlds that these people have created, have like 5 different worlds, and then just be like, okay, there's one egg in every single one of these worlds. Go and find them. All you have to do is figure out, like, look at who's the author. This is the guy who's the author. Go and find all of the eggs in this guy's worlds, and then you'll get some sort of thing. Whether it could be an avatar, it could be...
a month of VRChat Plus.
That too. Like,
it wouldn't hurt VRChat.
Anything.
In the end, like, seriously, if VRChat did some event and gave away a month of VRChat Plus to 100,000 users, that really would probably... it's a marketing tactic. It would be used as a marketing tactic in that point, and I wouldn't be mad about it, because you give something to someone completely and totally for free. What does it do? It shows them what that thing is, and all they had to do was play the game and have fun for a couple hours to earn that. Now they have VRC Plus and they want to keep it. They're going to pay for it. A lot of people would end up paying for it. So even if just 1% of people did, VRChat would come out making so much more money off of it. And really, if you look at it from every different aspect, there's no downside.
Here's another idea. Like, let's say that you give somebody a permanent addition to their account on VRChat. It's not necessarily the same as, well, not necessarily even a badge, but like just a little bump. Like, let's say, what's a good example?
You're talking like a trophy system or something?
Literally, there's badges.
Not necessarily like a trophy system, but like some little added benefit, like okay, you have say that you finished one of those Easter egg things. You get like 2 or 3 extra avatars you can now favorite.
That would be... I don't think they would ever do that, because that wouldn't incentivize nearly anyone to do it. It's a social game. You want to show off what you got out of it to other people. So if you got VRC Plus for a month, you can put a badge above or next to your name showing that. You know, you could get invited to a special group for participating. And
well, sometimes you want to show off, and
show
sometimes
the badge
you want
for
other
that group.
things.
It's a social game.
I'm just saying.
It's a social game.
Yeah, here's something I was just thinking about. Go for it. Complete your idea. I'm just jumping in.
It's a social game. In social things, most people want to show off. Hey, I got this gold medal. Hey, I got this first place trophy. They want to show that off. They don't just want to be like, hey, you won. Here's $5. Like, well, cool, I guess. Okay. You know?
Yeah.
So, like, I think them even just giving a badge, because they have the badge system built into VRChat already. Like, I have 2 badges right now. I have the VRC Plus badge, and I have the early adopter for having VRC Plus during the beta of VRC Plus. So they could just add another badge in there for you participated in the VRChat Easter egg hunt of 2025.
The badges aren't a bad idea, but I would participate with something like that if there was a big party at the end for anybody who actually found all the Easter eggs.
Yeah. An invite-only party for those that participated and spent the time and had the fun for hours.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing with the big pug thing, where, like, once you finally got into the basement, everybody was all like, oh my god, we did it, we did everything. Which is, I still don't understand how exactly that worked, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, for whoever was in that world, that was a team effort, so that's interesting. So
yeah, okay,
I can answer that. I can answer
Go
that.
ahead.
You don't understand why? I'll answer it with one single sentence. It's because everybody in VRChat makes mountains out of molehills. That's why.
So, let's move on to the next topic here. Self-moderation tools. VRChat currently has only you can block, mute, hide avatars. That's pretty much it for self-moderation. Now, when I'm talking self-moderation, in this case, I'm looking what could VRChat add for like worlds, groups, group public worlds, things like that. What could they do different for that to make it better, simpler, safer for everyone? Because right now, you go to a public, like I have legitimately walked into a group public black cat and had someone ask my age and date of birth. And it's like, this is a public world. I don't know anyone in here. I am not saying this information out loud. And I'm not going to type it into my chat box either. So what do you guys think there's anything VRChat could do to alleviate that issue? Or do you think it's perfectly fine and acceptable for random people in a public world to be asking for your age and date of birth and kicking you from the world if you don't give it?
Okay, so at least my opinion on that, it's kind of like it goes back to a story I heard years ago. It was called The Devil's Game, and one of the consequences of The Devil's Game is if you give the devil your full name, then that's essentially, the equivalent of letting a vampire into your house. Like once you give that name up, that's it. You've pretty much given up consent. So really, it's on you if you give that information.
Yeah, but
honestly,
there's a lot
in
of
that
kids in this game
situation,
that are going to give that information anyway.
The best way that you can deal with that is you literally just lie.
I would ask for guarantees.
But
like,
listen, there's no matter what you're asking for or thinking, though, there's a lot of people that don't. They aren't fully comprehending the things that can happen by giving away that public information or that private information into a public world. They don't know what can happen. They don't know if they don't realize that people could be writing this information down and saving it for nefarious purposes. They don't realize that. And most people are just like, oh, it's perfectly harmless. He's just making sure that there's only adults in this world. Perfectly fine and harmless. But there's going to be, and there has already been instances of people taking that information and doing it or using it to go after people. So, like, that's why I'm against that information.
Here's my idea. I think.
Well, yeah,
if
I don't really think that it's a very good idea to even like allow people to ask for that kind of thing, because you're basically asking for identity theft at that point. You can't allow that.
I don't think VRChat should be allowing that to happen in a public world. It should not be allowed in a public, group plus. The only place that it should be allowed is
the thing about it for me is
world.
like what you're talking about when you're like, okay, all you have to do is just be like, are you at least 18? Yes, no.
Yeah,
Done.
That's
done.
Fine. I'm perfectly fine with that question.
No
but asking for the
bullshit.
details about it is the problem.
Yeah, because I don't.
And that.
Whenever I've had issues with like I recently moved and I've tried to like get in contact with the county and SSI federally, blah blah blah, and try and get everything set up. And I have said my goddamn social security number so many goddamn times. I'm pretty sure like half of the people on this block probably know it, and I'm pissed off about that because I have to keep on fucking doing it over and over and over again, and it's all because of clerical errors. So like if I can't trust if I can't trust a government entity to be able to figure out how they're able to do that properly, I don't trust VRChat.
It's not even VRChat, it's users in VRChat. Like, I would trust giving
VRChat
details
users in
to
VRChat,
VRChat.
but I mean, if anybody could be listening, and this is why I find the whole like content thing to be so stupid. The whole thing about like anybody at any point could hear you say something that is somewhat what's the word? Compromising. And then all of a sudden, somebody on like the ass end of the other fucking side of the world can then go and like decide, I'm gonna hack this guy because why not? I'm bored.
Like,
I feel like being a stalker.
VRChat needs to put some onus on this. I think they need to own a little bit part of this. And if you leave it to thousands of world creators for them to manage your servers, you're opening up for problems. But they kind of have a solution at hand. We have a paywall, the VRChat Plus. That should be, we can easily age gate that and do some verification.
No, you can't.
checks. So that
you can't age gate VRC Plus.
Well, not currently. Yes, correct.
Not currently, and they can't
Not
at
legally?
all. They would be
It
breaking
violates
Steam
the Data
policy.
Protection Act.
Yeah,
Really?
it would violate that, and it would also violate Steam policy, because Steam.
case, we're dealing
I
with a
almost.
legal issue.
I'm not 100% sure about this, but I am pretty fucking sure that Steam says you cannot discriminate against someone based on age, race, sex, gender, any of that shit. So you can't say, "Oh, you're not 18, so you can't use the Steam credits to buy VRC Plus."
What about like you go to like Budweiser.com, right? And they ask for your age.
They legally have to, because they are selling or promoting products that are only for people over a certain age.
So we just need VRChat to start selling beer.
Oh my god, the VRChat beer. Oh no.
It would be the skunkiest, nastiest thing, but it would sell.
Just call it femboy beer. Femboy beer.
Oh, it would. Okay, then it'd be sold out. Everyone's getting femboy.
Okay,
beer.
guys, we have another business venture. We have to start a beer company and call it Femboy Beer. And we got to get a bunch of dudes in maid outfits to put on each can.
Ooh.
1, 2, 3, not it.
Ah, I was looking in that
for
direction
sure,
conveniently.
Like, okay, think of this for a minute. Like, if we made a
I was
beer
like,
company,
I know where this is going. I'm out. I'm out.
If we made a fucking beer company and we called it Femboy Beer and we sold it, we fucking put pictures of different like content creators in maid outfits on the cans, or even VRChat avatars in maid outfits or
You could sell it for
dresses or something like that.
$25 a can.
Yeah. Imagine a fucking oh my god. Yeah, just imagine like partnering with a bunch of streamers and getting their face put on a specific flavored can of beer, similar to like Gamer Subs, how they do the
Yeah.
All I
partnerships
can
and
say
make the
is I
flavors
know
with
how
different
we're
streamers.
feeding the yeast, and I do not want to be anywhere near that distillery.
Oh my god.
Part of me is thinking like we'll make the cans clear, so after you finish the can, you now have a jar. You now have these VTubers, and you can put them into the jar.
Oh my
I'm just gonna leave it
god.
at that.
Dude, I'm throwing up one star rate
Femboy
today.
beer.
Don't conversation right now.
Oh, or we could call it
My
Gamer Beer
condolences.
instead of Femboy Beer, and just make it Gamer Beer
I
so
don't
we
know.
can
Femboy
put
beer
things
is
that aren't
definitely
just
gonna sell.
femboys on. I mean, yeah.
And then we can use Femboy
Make
beer to
make
fund
the
Gamer
company
beer.
Make the company Gamer Beer and just have a product line of femboy beer. That's like fruity flavors of beer.
And when we say
With
supported by the
femboys on
company,
the
we
cans.
spell it with a U and not a O, just to kind of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. A family company, you know?
Bro, even
Oh
I
my
I
think
feel
that's
like
fucked up.
that's gonna wind up being spelled
Yes.
with a U.
That's what he just said. That's literally what he just said. Oh my god. Why do we come up with
you
so
know
many
this would
business
sell.
ideas on this podcast?
Yes.
ADHD or autism
great
or
minds
both?
think alike. We're all looking for jobs.
Okay, well,
That's what's happening.
I think
That
we're gonna
is
go
true.
ahead and wrap it up for tonight. We touched on pretty much everything I wanted to talk about today. So yeah. Oh man, I feel like we should just do one episode every month that touches on the new features coming and the changes to VRChat.
Yeah,
You know what?
Since VR, like we can just take notes on the developer updates throughout the month and the updates and everything of VRChat throughout the month, and talk about that at the end of the month.
I also think
What you
that
like, what you don't like, what they could have
sometimes
done
throw
better.
these business venture ideas that we should have a pitch meeting where we just pitch some of the craziest ideas and see what sticks.
Oh my god. Yes.
Well, you take a bottle, you
Yes.
fill it with bathwater, and
Anyway.
you piss in it for salt.
Oh no.
Okay, on that note,
No, and
this has been a great time. We're gonna do the thing that we do at the end of every episode and go ahead and advertise where people can find more of you. So he just sinks into the couch. Davion, we'll go ahead and start with you today.
All right. It's Zabian TV. You'll find me on Twitch. You'll find me on YouTube. Whenever I get back into streaming, which I have some good news, and it looks like I will be working from home. They made some arrangements. So yeah, you'll still see me around, which is good. And that's it for me.
Awesome. Circa 3.
You can find me on YouTube. I stream on Rumble. And if you see me on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, it's not me. Because fuck those websites. Also, I am on Kick on Twitch, but I don't use them unless I'm gifting subs. So, there you go. Same for Twitter.
And Oni, if you want to advertise anything anywhere.
I don't stream yet. I'm considering it. I don't know.
Do it. Okay, so anyway, this has been episode
Just
15 of the Beyond Pixels podcast. Do it now. Anyway, yeah, this has been episode 15 of the Beyond Pixels podcast. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time. We're on Twitch. On my Twitch, ToterDude01. Then I think we're on a new schedule for uploading onto YouTube. It's going to be every Tuesday and Thursday. We'll be uploading the previous episode. So today's Thursday episode will be uploaded on YouTube on Tuesday. Gives me a little time in between to make some adjustments and do what I need to instead of rushing to get it uploaded right away. So we're going to be doing that now. That's the new schedule. Tuesday's episode just went live on YouTube today, which, by the way, if you guys can stay back for a few minutes, I got an idea here. We're every... so Beyond Pixels podcast every Tuesday, Thursday, 6 p.m. Central Time on Twitch. And I also find it on YouTube, wherever you're watching it. There's always a button down below to follow, like, subscribe, any of that fun stuff. And there's also a Discord link down below that you can join. Give us your ideas for what you think we should talk about. We've got a whole list of topics coming up soon. I was also going to touch on real quick. What should we talk about on Tuesday? I'm thinking VRChat
Board meeting.
nostalgia.
Okay.
I'm thinking we talk about VRChat nostalgia on Tuesday. So Tuesday's episode will likely be about VRChat nostalgia, the crazy things that we don't know, we've not known, whatever. The things, the things that we miss from back in the day. The things we wish would come back or be the same as they once were. Anyway, that's all for today's podcast. It's so nice to have you all. Thank you all for coming.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
God.
And I will see everyone on the next episode.